Hi, today we're going to talk about greenhouse heat and ventilation. This is a small hobby greenhouse, but the same applies no matter what size greenhouse you have. I see a lot of Facebook posts, people are always asking how to heat their small greenhouse. Um, I've been doing this for years, so let's take a look at what I have and maybe it'll inspire you to do the same. If you're new to greenhouses, you should know that they are their own microclimate. Nothing applies here that you have learned in gardening. Things spiral out of control very quickly if your heat and ventilation are not synchronized. I've seen greenhouses go from the frozen tundra to the tropics and then the desert within a 10-hour period, resulting in plant fatalities. It costs a lot to heat a greenhouse with electricity. With that said, I found a way to use hot water to only heat around the plant by keeping the soil at a consistent temperature. The soil rises to provide an acceptable ambient temperature a few inches above the soil, protecting the plants. I also don't allow the air temperature in the greenhouse to get below 35 degrees Fahrenheit. This ensures the plants will survive the coldest nights. In fact, plants maintain their growing cycle based on soil temperature. Air temperature is less important, providing the plant tissue does not get harmed by the cold air. I also like to keep the daytime temperature in the greenhouse on the cooler side, using adequate ventilation to keep the bugs and disease under control. And here are copper pipes that circulate the hot liquid through them, which is antifreeze. Inside I use water. Hot water heater, and here is a milk house heater that I use to keep the air temperature above 35. This 2-gallon hot water heater, I found it alongside the road. I had to put a new element in it. I use a circulator pump to move the fluid through the pipes, which is controlled by the Inkbird thermometer, or thermostat, I should say, above. Here's my indoor setup. Very similar to the outside, only I use plastic pipe here, and instead of running antifreeze in my lines, I run water. Here you can see how the pipe is soldered together, and right there, that is how I fill the system. Here are the electronic thermostats. That is the Inkbird, which controls the circulator pump by a probe that gets stuck right into the soil. That is a Bayite, very similar to the Inkbird, which has a cooling and a heating side. That's your heating plug. When it reaches heating temperature and when it needs to cool, it sends power to that. That's where you set it. And on the Inkbird, it has the same setup, heating and a cooling side to it. But the Inkbird doesn't have the wattage compatibility as the other. These Lux are older. That one is for the cooling. The other one I use sometimes for a heat map on the other side of the greenhouse. Okay, this is the whole bench here. The entire greenhouse is 8 by 6, so it's 56 square feet. I get 8 flats across there. Here's the milk house heater. That's 1500 watts. It also has a 1300 watt setting, adequate for what I need it for. Here are the louver doors on one side of the greenhouse. It's controlled by one of those automatic vent openers. You can see here, this tube here, when it reaches a certain temperature, around 80 degrees, it opens. I like it a lot. I just don't like that it doesn't close as fast as it should. On the other end of the greenhouse, we have a 10-inch exhaust fan with louver doors. This is controlled by one of the thermostats. Here's the outside view of it.